hurts, 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 hurts. And I just hope it hurts, 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 hurts. I'm ready to converse, predicting a verdict. I know what you're trying to say, you don't know how to word it. I know what you're gonna say to the facts, you're allergic. I like what you said, that did you have to rehearse it, such a canned response. Who's the GOAT now? The victory's talking, let me give you the lowdown. You ain't it sweet, I'm calling shots from the low ground. My source is concrete, like LeBron in the post now. The time's arrived to reply. You're looking for my opinion, I will gladly oblige. Cause when the verdict comes in and speculation subsides, we just let the people decide. And I just hope it hurts, 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 hurts. And I just hope it hurts, 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 hurts.
We back again. My brother, what's happening?
What's going on, brother? How you living?
Another dollar.
Consistent. I like it, man.
You knew it was coming, man. Gotta keep it going, you know. No, I can't never stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Get my ditty on. Shout out to Fly.
I feel it.
Hey, one of these days we gonna have to introduce the world to the Bobby Brown dance, man.
Oh, that's classic,
definitely got
bro.
It's definitely got
they don't know nothing about that.
They don't know nothing.
Shout out to Sly, man. Shout out to Sly Boog for that one.
They don't know nothing about that. We're gonna introduce the Bobby Brown.
Bobby Brown.
Best team ever. Yes, I'm one of the originators. Holla at your boy. We got one of our biggest supporters right here.
Yes, sir. I was in the video getting it.
Yes, he was in the video. But man, like, let's go ahead and dive right into it, man. You know, like we coming off of a strong weekend of college basketball. We saw two of the best games that we've ever seen in the second round of the NCAA tournament, like with the Tennessee and Iowa game and the Duke and Central Florida. We saw some good basketball. We saw some close calls with Kentucky and North Carolina where they found themselves in some battles over the past couple of days. Yeah, I know.
North Carolina wasn't in no battle. Come on, man. There was no battle. No, not at all.
The final score indicated was what?
Man, there wasn't no battle. We was up 10 from start
to
finish. Come on, dog. Easy pick.
And of course, we had Gronk's retirement. We're about to get into all that, but we're gonna go ahead and dive right in with the juiciest part, man. That Duke Central Florida game, classic. That's what you pay money to see. That's what you enjoy to see. That's what you want to see. You saw a hard-fought battle. You saw clutch plays made from both sides. Really, you saw two teams that was getting it in. It's just one team clutch at the right time. But leading up to that, Central Florida was just as clutch, man. They took that 4-point lead, making clutch plays. But of course, you know, with all big games like that, there's going to be some type of swing, whether it's in the favor of the team leading or the favor of the team behind. And in this particular case, the swing was late in the game. You saw the alley-oop to Aubrey Dawkins, and he didn't get it down. And that's a 5-point swing because the very next thing that happened is he drops the ball, Duke gets it, they go down 3. That's a 5-point swing right there. That was huge.
Humongous, man.
That was huge, a huge swing, man. And it wasn't just a 5-point swing. That was a momentum and a fire starter. It ignited the big 3 of Duke because the next thing you see Cam Reddish hit that 3. You see Zion go right at your boy, soft shell taco. He balled.
Taco ball. My man.
Taco ball. Yeah, he went right at him. He gets the N1, misses the free throw, and then of course RJ Barrett finishes off. Big 3. You can't come up with a better way for your top 3 players to impact the game than to score your last 3 baskets for 7 points and win the game. That was a beautiful game, man. Give me your thoughts on it.
I like how you brought up Duke's top three, man. They are, no matter what's going on, whenever Duke needs a bucket, one of those three guys normally hits a bucket. Even like Zion, when the other team gets up 10, it seems like Zion all of a sudden hits a set three. And it just sparks the run, man. But it was a great game. I'm upset, because I didn't call Duke losing the entire year in the second round. A lot of that was hate, but some of it was legit. And what I said was they struggle to shoot outside, and they don't have a bench. And when I saw they were going to play UCF, I said, oh, UCF might get them. And the reason why is because you disrespectful, but my man, Hardshell Taco Fall, has an impact. I don't care, bro. We know he's not a very good basketball player. He's just tall. He's 7'6", but his wingspan is 8'4". So if you got somebody that big underneath the basket, that's going to prevent you from consistently getting to the rack. And that's exactly what happened. He was deflecting shots, whether he blocked it or not. It's hard to finish over somebody that with 8 feet arms. So it was a very good game, man. Shout out to Aubrey Dawkins, though. He was incredible. He played a great game. Now, if he would have made one of those last three plays, from dropping the oop to not boxing out or making a layup, UCF wins. But he's the main reason they were in the game. My man played 40 minutes, wire to wire. His stamina is incredible. I haven't seen a guy be able to run like that for an entire game. And most of his scoring is running off screens.
Yes.
It's like Rip Hamilton, Reggie Miller type stuff, and he was knocking them down. And he shot 12 of 16, I believe, 32 points, man. He had a great game, just couldn't get it done at the end.
Yeah, man, like you hit it right on the head. Like the man literally played the entire game sprinting. Like that's type behavior. One thing that he did and a lot of players did, this is an every year thing when it comes to the tournament. A lot of guys who nobody knew about make a lot of money during this tournament. And Aubrey Dawkins definitely made himself a couple million because he probably went from a guy who was, if they're looking at him being drafted, if he comes out this year, because he's a junior, he could go back. I don't think he will after this tournament. But coming into this tournament, he probably was likely to go back to school for his senior year. But now he just climbed up some draft boards, and you know that Aubrey Dawkins is likely going to be a lottery pick after watching the way that he performed. And it's not just his performance, it's who he did it against. That's the biggest thing. Who did he do this against? And it didn't matter who was on him, from Zion, from Cam to RJ, he was getting buckets. It was just this. It didn't matter who was that switched on them. They tried many different things. It wasn't really working. Central Florida in general played a great game, but everybody got threw off their game at some point except for him. Everybody on their roster, somehow you saw earlier in the game, Trey Jones forcing turnovers. They throwing the ball out of bounds. Everybody got threw off their game at some point offensively except for him. He dropped the oop, but he wasn't really him throwing off the game. It was just an error. It was just that simple. Overall, though, man, it was a great game, man. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I just want to hear real quick, though, before anything else, before we go any further in the show, this show cannot continue. Say you was wrong.
I was wrong by that much.
Ain't no about his but
if that layup goes in, I would have never let that go, man. I told you I would have changed my name to the prophet known as Whiters. Because I caught it, man.
Hey, guess what?
Layup didn't go in.
Guess what? It don't matter. I'm so happy. I'm so happy, not just because Duke won, because now I can still show my face. I can still do this show. Because had you been right, I would have went and had it. I'm not trying to hurt you.
That's all we want to talk about.
Look, I ain't gonna lie. I broke a 30-second sweat when they went up, late in the game.
Nah, you were sweating that entire game. You was sweating that entire game, dog.
A little hot by the collar, But it's man. Big time players make big time plays and big time games. And shout out to the big three. They all took their business.
Before we move on, though, I'm all right with Duke advancing. But the jury is out on Duke, man. UCF set the damn blueprint. I'm telling you, there's no need to guard Jones, and there's no need to guard Goldwire. Because what Coach K has done the entire season, when they're struggling and they need to get going, he brings that boy Goldwire in, they put that press on you, and they just go on the run immediately. Well, okay, when you're on offense, I'm not guarding you. Because clearly them two, man, they look pathetic on offense. Now, they did make 2 big threes. I give them that, and they were clutch. But other than those 2 shots, they were the reason why Duke was struggling on offense. So moving forward, when they play against more talented teams and they decide not to guard them too, or if it's one, they out of there. So I love it. I'm still good,
Man,
dog.
I hear you talking, but I don't hear you talking because it's a whole lot easier said than done. The thing that you have to factor into that is that while those two, you can say that about those two, the other 3 guys, we already agreed, they make plays when you need plays made. And Zion finished with 32 and 11. You know Zion.
He's gonna get that. He's gonna get that.
That's my point. That's my point. You know he's gonna show up. But what you have to have on your end, while you're saying the blueprint is, you have to have an Aubrey Dawkins. You have to have a guy that's going to be able to go out there and make buckets consistently to keep up with those guys. Is that simple?
You got to have a team. That's what was wrong with UCF. They're going to play teams with guys maybe not as good as Aubrey Dawkins, but they damn near close, and it's 4 or 5 of them. That's what I'm saying. 4 or 5 of them. So I'm not worried at all. Duke's gonna be out pretty soon, man.
Like I said, and we gonna see you. We gonna see now. He about to call it every round. He gonna be like, they gonna lose this round.
No.
But you know, man, it is what it is. Like I said, the only game that rivaled that one over the first 2 rounds was Tennessee and Iowa. That was straight up good, classic, hard fought college ball right there. You know, man, and we both agreed as far as Tennessee making it to the Final Four. But, you know, I don't think I gave Tennessee enough credit for their chance, for the possibility that they could beat North Carolina. I still got North Carolina picked, but I think Tennessee showed a mental fortitude that I didn't know they had by losing a 25-point lead, allowing Iowa all the way back, and then to get it together, which I don't think people understand how hard that is. When you lose a lead that big, the morale just plummets, and to snap out of it and bring it back, and to have your key players like Admiral Sheffield and Lamont Thorne and Grant Williams and Jordan Bones, and they long athletes. All those guys are tall, you know, and they all can run the floor. But to have those guys step up was huge, and to lock back in, I loved it. Like, do you think there's any chance after seeing that type of performance that Tennessee could pull off the upset over North Carolina in the Final Four?
No, I don't. I mean, I agree with you, though. It's very impressive because me and you, we both know what it's like to have a huge lead and to lose that lead and to try to regain your composure and finish and win. Most teams cannot do that, especially in a tournament like this where the crowd will switch on your ass real quick and just root for the underdog, because that's the American way. We love underdogs, you know what I'm saying? And when they came all the way back, I say ain't no way in hell they're going to win this game. There's no way. But I love, like what you said, man, for them to regain composure and finish that game with clutch plays, and the focus showed a lot. It really did. And I mean, I don't want to say they don't have any chance against North Carolina. Of course they have a chance. They could beat them. But that doesn't change my pick.
Yeah.
It doesn't change my pick at all. But, again, it was very impressive. No knock to Tennessee. Great win. Moving on to the Sweet 16. I'm looking forward to them playing as well.
Yeah, man. Like, I know who else you're looking forward to see play. And, you know, I personally, I'll take the time out right now to admit I was wrong. I picked Murray State over Florida State in my bracket. And again, there was no knock on Florida State. I made it very clear. I do like Florida State's team. They long, they athletic. I just didn't think that they were going to bring it the way they did against Ja Morant. And I also thought that because, truth be told, Ja Morant is a big enough impact player that if he just has a little bit of help, like you don't need a lot. You just need 2 players to score 10 points and you in the game. You know, that's all you need. But, I mean, Ja Morant, Murray State, they ain't giving you nothing. It's time to go into the league. You've shown what you can do. Florida State beating Murray State was disappointing for me because I really wanted to see that kid keep rolling along. Ja Morant was not somebody I knew about last year. I found out about Ja Morant preseason this year from an Instagram post from a friend of the show, and it's his cousin, and and I'm watching it. I'm just like, okay, let me follow him. By mid-season, I was a fan. I really liked everything I saw, and he went on to show the world, everybody, who Ja Morant is, man. But Florida State, I got to give them their credit, man. The better team won, flat out. They a true team. I'll give you 2 stats before you go real quick. Murray State, 7 assists, 7 total 3-pointers. Ja Morant had 4 and 4 of those. and then Florida State, 21 assists, 11 threes. That's the biggest difference in the game. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, man. I wish you were. Well, I'm glad you didn't listen to me, but I tried to tell you. Like, I love Ja Morant too. And I'm glad that the world knows about him now because we knew about him. But he put his name out there with this tournament. But the problem with Murray State is they rely on him way too much. Like, he accounts for, he either scores or assists on more than half of their points. That's not going to work against a Florida State team where everybody, except for 2 players, are over 6'4".
Yeah.
The whole team, they only got 2 players under 6'4", and one of them don't play. All right? So you dealing with a team that's, you want to talk about long, like Tennessee, Florida State is the longest team in the NCAA. They got 7'4" guys center. I mean, 6'8" everywhere. They long as hell, and they lock in on defense, man. And not to mention, I'm happy for Leonard Hamilton, coach of Florida State, because he's been a very good coach for a long time. He just doesn't get the recruits like these other teams out here. But like I said, the game went, it was, they came in onslaughts of defense and they just switched. They had so many bodies to put on Ja Morant, it was difficult for him to get off. Now, he started the game nice, but I'm looking at the game, I'm like, okay, he's only hit deep threes around a pick. You can't do that for an entire game. Now, if he was getting to the rack and dishing and, you know what I'm saying, like really opening up the game, then it might be a different story. But he struggled to get to the rack the entire game. And his coach did him no justice, gave him no breaks, had no second option, no plan besides Ja Morant dominating. You know what I'm saying? So they were just overmatched. They played against a team, a complete team that was hungry, that was tired of hearing about Ja Morant, and they haven't gotten the respect they deserve. Florida State should be a higher seed. This entire year, they have dominated. They lost to Duke twice. But other than that, they really have played very well. You know what I'm saying? So them being a 4th seed, I immediately put them in the Final Four. They're going to make it, man. They're my pick. Great win by Florida State. They handle business and did what they are supposed to do, in my opinion. That was an easy opponent for them.
Yeah, okay, so I admitted I was wrong. You admitted you was wrong. I can't go out with a tie. So it's time for you to admit you was wrong once more. Oh, yes. And if you deny this, I will put a screenshot of the text message up right here. Go ahead and admit you was wrong about what you said about Nasir Little. Go ahead. Go ahead and admit.
I wasn't wrong. That boy was horrible against Duke, man. I said I'm slowly forgiving him. No, I'm not wrong. He going to have to do that against some real teams, dog. Our tournament hasn't started yet. These are warm-up games. Let's see you next week. We run into Kentucky.
All I got to say is Nasir Little averaging 19 and a half and 5.5 off the bench.
I don't care.
He's exactly what I said he is. He that spark player that's gonna come off the bench and give you plays that you need on both ends. Like, he does that for you, man. Like, I know you in your feelings because of the Duke game, but guess what? That's one game compared to how many? So Nasir Little.
The Duke game is what matters. What are you talking about?
You ain't got to admit it.
That's the game that matters around here,
Hey,
man.
you ain't got to admit it. You ain't got.
I'm not admitting nothing because I was right. He need the ball. He need the ball against the real teams. And this weekend, we'll see. And then he got to do it another weekend.
I'll tell you what. If they make it, he'll have an opportunity to do. And when I say they, I ain't talking about North Carolina. But if they make it far enough, then so we'll get the opportunity to see Nasir go against Kentucky, which would be good. But I'm questioning if Kentucky gonna make it because they've looked real shaky so far, and with them getting ready to take on Houston, Houston has really grabbed my attention, and they're Kentucky's another one of those teams that's really long, a lot of size, a lot of athleticism, size and athleticism all over. Typical Coach Calipari squad. He gonna get a whole lot of size, a whole lot of athleticism, all the brothers. However, Houston is the exact opposite. Well, almost exact. They still athletic, but they have no size. Very, very, very small squad. They starting lineup is all like 6'4" and under. However, them boys can run the floor with the best of them. They are so ridiculously explosive. They had 11 games this year where they scored at least 80 points. Corey Davis Jr. is red hot right now in the tournament, averaging 23 and shooting 43% from three on the year. Like, the boy is a sharpshooter, both all game, any clutch. he making buckets like, and it's not just him, but Armani Brooks as well. I mean, this squad is dangerous. This is a dangerous squad, and I believe that if Kentucky don't put the clamps on them, if they allow this squad to get on any sort of run, any sort of streak, it's over. Because when they get going, you cannot stop them. It's that simple. You cannot stop them. What you think about Kentucky? What do you think their chances are of beating this Houston squad?
I think they're gonna dominate Houston, just like Florida State dominated Murray State.
Hey, hold on, wait. Look, I don't see nowhere on my notes where it say at this point we still talking about Murray State.
Nah, I'm just giving you a quick comparison. It's a quick comparison, man. You talking about Houston? Houston, I'm impressed with that they made it this far. And honestly, I expected them to. I had them in the Sweet 16, losing to Kentucky. Nothing has changed. Kentucky played down to their competition the first weekend. And now that they see a 3 seed coming, Kentucky is going to show up the way they're supposed to show up. You just mentioned the link that Kentucky has and Houston does not have. Houston is going to have to make deep threes this entire game to beat them, which they are capable of. But I'm not counting on that. Kentucky is going to handle business, and they're probably going to lead by 10 from wire to wire. I'm picking Kentucky. Nothing has changed, dog.
That's a bold statement, man, from wire to wire.
Bold. That's not bold.
Look, the reason I say it's bold is because not only is Houston explosive, but they're efficient. It's not like they're just explosive, like they catch a spark just randomly. No, they're very efficient with their scoring, man. Now, again, I don't want anybody to think I'm going against my bracket. I picked Kentucky to make it past them, and I'm sticking to my bracket. I'm not switching my bracket, but as a man, I got to be a realist and admit what I'm seeing is legit. Like, Houston's very legit. Houston is very explosive, and Houston is a threat to Kentucky advancing. Like, I don't think that Kentucky should have struggled the way they did with Wofford. they definitely should not have had the first 15 minutes against Abilene Christian, for real. The first 15 minutes against Abilene Christian, they did what they supposed to do. For the rest of that game, Abilene Christian was in it, and if without them coming out as sluggish as they was, it's a different game.
How were they in it? Please explain to me that.
Because the first 15 minutes, but the last 5 minutes of that first half, they started to catch their ground, and they came out in the second half playing a completely different game, man. It was a much more competitive game. And what I'm saying is that it shouldn't even been competitive at any point with Abilene Christian.
They won by 35. What are you talking about?
Again, the final score don't always tell the whole story, and you know this.
They scored 44 points for the game. What
and
are you talking about?
This.
No.
They scored the second half.
I don't care.
Exactly.
They scored 44 points, man. It's
Hey,
like a
whatever
little
the case
over a
may
point a
be,
minute.
whatever
That's
the case
awful.
may be, like you just said, they too often play down to the level of competition. I ain't trying to hear nothing you gotta
Well, it's
say.
time they gonna raise it up.
Okay, we gonna see because these Houston boys ain't scared. It's that simple. They not
I
scared.
don't
They
care. I don't
coming.
care if they scared. I like Kentucky to win this game easily because Kentucky can play almost every style that you need to play. If the game slows down like it did against Wofford, they can lock in on D and get tools here and there when they need it and come out winning a low-scoring game. If they need to win a high-scoring game, Kentucky got the arsenal to do that too. You know what I'm saying? If you want to play big, we got that. You want to play little, we got that too. Kentucky's going to win this game, man. I'm not hearing it about Houston. I'm not impressed that they beat Georgia State and Ohio State. See, that's what you're not talking about. They beat a 14 and an 11. I'm not trying to knock Houston. Great wins. I hear it, you know what I'm saying? But now you playing Kentucky. This ain't
Okay,
Georgia State. This ain't
okay.
Ohio State.
Like
Who
I
probably shouldn't
said,
even make the
11
tournament.
times they went over 80. That's all I'm saying. Which is
They,
a big benchmark in college basketball.
they
But
ain't
whatever.
going over 80 against Kentucky, and that's what they're going to need to beat them. They're going to need 80. They're not getting that.
Okay, let's
I
see.
give
Let's
them, you know what? Let's put it on right now. They will not get over 65.
Okay, we gonna see about that. That's interesting because I think this game gonna be closer than what you're giving it credit for. But we'll see.
We 25 minutes in, so write that down in your notes. They will not get over 65.
What I do about pen?
Jot it down.
Not over 65, 25 in. Okay. Oh yes. Oh yes. This gonna be the clip that's being played on the next show.
and I'm gonna have to change my name to Negro Damas. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it's all good. One thing that I think we both was excited about and we both kind of sort of expected was KU not advancing past Auburn. The happiest person over the weekend was Charles Barkley. That man lost his mind in the studio. Look, man, it's very simple. KU to me is I'm not a KU fan. I'll be the first to admit that. But unlike you, I don't hate on teams just because I'm not a fan. You gonna hate on them no matter what.
No matter what.
If I see that you can do something, I'm gonna go ahead and say that. You know, it's that simple. If I see you ain't, I'm gonna make sure it's known. Now because I don't like you and I'm not a fan, if I see that you can't, I'm gonna really let you know you can't. And I'm telling you, KU ain't shit. KU ain't shit. Lawson is overrated. I said it all alone. I didn't understand how he was number 9 when they dropped their top 50 players in the tournament right before the tournament kicked off. Had no clue how he was number 9. Shout out to the homie Joe, because I told your silly ass that he wasn't number 9 then. Like, it just didn't make sense, man. Like, I could think of 9 players better than him. Hell, I just talked about one of them in Corey Davis Jr. Corey Davis Jr., yeah, he only 6'1", 6'2". I don't give a damn. That boy balls. He reminds me a lot of Kemba Walker when he was in Connecticut. Didn't nobody give a damn how tall, how big he was. Was he balling? It's that simple. Same thing now. Like I look at Lawson and I'm just like, he's overrated. Bryce Brown came out and punched them in the mouth. Like Bryce Brown, little short 5'11" ass, came out chopping them up with ease.
Yes, he did.
He made it look so easy. Now, don't get me wrong. It should be expected from Bryce Brown. He's a 40% career shooter from 3. And it showed up. And KU had no answers. There was a lack of effort. They jumped out to damn near 20-point lead so fast. Like, it was effortless for them to take the lead. And for everyone says, oh, well, Lawson finished with 25. It was the most garbage time 25 ever. The game is over. It was over. Easy buckets at that point, you know, and so it really didn't even matter, man. I ain't even gonna spend too much time on it because I expected this. I never thought that KU was gonna go too far. They're lazy with the way they play. They're not a good team. They have some talent, but they're not a good team. and they don't really have anybody that tries to break that trend. You know, kind of like we were saying with Ja Morant earlier. They don't have a good team, but you have somebody that's gonna try to break that trend and gonna fight. You know, you see those type of teams where it's that one guy who gonna go as hard as he can. They don't have that, and they can't make up for what they lacking. I'm not sold on them to do anything to. I wasn't sold on them to do anything to change my mind or anything like that coming into this tournament, and I want to thank them for proving me right. Good job, KU. Go ahead.
First off, I just want to say, War Damn Eagle. Hell yeah. Man, I love watching every second of that game. I mean, it took no time to be like, yeah, Auburn is about to whoop their ass, dog. Like, it was a great game from wire to wire. They got up 20 so fast, it was ridiculous, man. They were shooting threes from everywhere. They hit 13 for the game, but most of them was in that first half, like first 10 minutes. And, you know, and I say this about KU, man. This was not a typical KU team. It wasn't a typical KU year. They had some injuries. They dealt with some suspensions as well, but I know I ain't making no excuse for them at all. I'm just telling you, this is not typical KU. They were a bunch of individuals this year. And you talking about Lawson, like, yeah, he had 25, but they're all empty stats. Bro was nowhere to be found when the onslaught was coming from Auburn. And that's what I'm talking about.
1-for-7.
Exactly. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, y'all, people always talking about stats, man. What's your impact? He had zero impact on the game. He didn't start doing anything until it was out of hand. Bro, I don't care that you scoring now. Where was you when I needed you? Why did you stop that 12-0 run that happened? Where were you at? Nowhere to be found. This was not a typical KU team. I loved watching it, man. It was a great game by Auburn. They were so impressive. They looked like a unit. They looked like a team that should have been a higher seed than a 5. They really did. And KU was overmatched from front to end. Like, good win. War Eagle.
Before we get on to Gronk's retirement, man, because we got to definitely dig into that. I want to know, since we're talking about some of the top players in this year's tournament, who do you have as your top 3 best players? Which I know we're gonna have number 1 the same. The whole world should have the same number 1. But who do you have as your top 3 players in this tournament?
Who? You talking about Taco Fall?
You sick.
I know you're talking about Taco Fall, right? His number 1 player, right?
I fall.
That's where we at? Are you not? Okay.
Thick ass taco. Soft shell taco.
Soft shell, hard shell. Nah, man, real talk, the top 3 performers in this tournament, just forget players, the top 3 performers so far, clearly is Zion. He never disappoints, man. I'm so impressed with this kid because forget his athleticism. He has an amount of heart that you just haven't seen in a while, you know, from basketball, period. You know, like, and like I mentioned earlier, when Duke needs a spark, here he comes every single time, whether it's getting to the rack, getting a steal, shooting a 3. Like, I love his confidence when they're down to hit, just shoot that shit. And don't even think about it. And it goes in. You can forget his percentage because he's a shot maker. But Zion's my number 1, of course. Number 2 was Ja Morant. Ja Morant had a great first weekend, especially the first game. I love how he put his name on the map. Like I said, we knew about him, but the world really didn't know about him. Like, this is his 4th triple-double of the season this year that he got in the tournament. And the fact that he had 16 assists in the first round of the NCAA tournament, when to get in the tournament to win a championship game, he had over 30 points. You know, people don't know that. That shows a level of maturity that I just absolutely love. Discipline. Yeah. There are not a lot of young guys, especially at the point guard position, that can go out and drop 30 one night and then come back with 16 assists the next night. And it just shows how he takes what the defense gives him, but he's very aggressive. He had a great first weekend, man. Good luck to him on the next level. It's time to move on. Number 3, the performance that Aubrey Dawkins had against Duke was absolutely incredible. I know he didn't finish it, and I know he's thinking about that right now. But at the same time, man, keep your head up, dog, because you played an incredible game, showed an incredible amount of heart, clutch. Every time UCF needed a bucket, he got that bucket almost every single time. My man played the entire game, 32 points, shot like 70% from the field, knocking down all his free throws as well. Loved watching him play. But also, man, I got an honorable mention because I'm going to shout him out. I don't care what you got to say.
Oh, sure.
Taco Fall, man. People don't understand. If you watched him as a freshman compared to now, he's still, we know he's sorry. We know that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you saw him from a freshman until now, the man has improved vastly. He is so much better than what he used to be. And you got to take in the fact he's only played basketball for 5 years. This man just moved to the country when he was 16, 17 years old, spent his entire time without his mother. His mother just got to America. He's a double major, man. He's graduating. I'm happy to see how far he's come. He had an impact on that game, just like I thought he would. They came up short, man, but we'll see what happens with him. Shout out to Taco Fall, man. I see the improvement.
All right, Taco. So
disrespectful, man.
Soft shell. I don't care about all that. Can you ball? That's all I want to know.
This coming from a man that has airballed a layup literally over the goddamn backboard by yourself.
First off, why you
we was in YMCA in the St. Joe. You went up there.
We wasn't in the YMCA. We was in the gym on campus. And what happened was I caught a Charlie horse. And I was like, oh, and just threw that motherfucker. Oh, like Randy Moss when he told me. That's what happened.
I don't care what you call. Anybody airball, anybody airball a layup.
I wasn't expecting that, so I ain't have a comeback ready. But please, I'm going to fire back before this show is over.
You can't fire back. You airballed the layup, bro, over the backboard.
It's all good. And it hit the backboard, so therefore it ain't an airball. I don't care what nobody says.
Man, it went straight over the backboard. Tell the truth.
Hey, whatever. It is what it is. That was a long time ago, man. It was a Charlie horse. Blame the Charlie horse. Chopper City all day. That's all everybody need to know. Young fellow with this motherfucker.
Hell no, never.
But look, man, my top three, like, in all seriousness, I want to take a minute because typically with something so obvious like a number one like Zion, you don't really need to talk about it too much. But I feel like I do when talking about Zion because I don't think people really understand exactly how impactful he is. I think everybody just see the dunks and just think, oh, man, he can really dunk. He's so athletic. But Zion is so much more than that. Even if he wasn't the dunker he is, he would still be an impactful, dominant player because of all the things he does. You talked about his ability to somehow always hit that timely clutch shot, whether it's a knockdown three or something. He always doing it. He's fearless. He is a hell of a passer. People don't even realize this man was 5'8" until he was like 15. He just grew out of nowhere. He was a point guard his whole life. He started playing at 5 years old, playing with the 9-year-olds. Like he always played up. He always had to be tougher than the other kids because he was the smallest, youngest kid on the court. To be the smallest, youngest kid to growing up to being one of the biggest, strongest kids, it's quite the switch. But he still kept some of those smaller skills. So a smaller kid's skills from the agility and all that stuff. Like he's not just a freight train, man. This man is agile. He is agile and fast and the ability to pass and the court vision. And he does it all, man. Zion is truly the best player college basketball has ever had. They've never had this because before him.
Boy, you disrespectful, man.
Before him, when I say best, let me not say best. He has the most potential that they've ever had. Because before him, guys like him went straight to the league. They didn't go through college, man. College basketball ain't never seen nothing like this before.
Right now, my man Lou Alcindor is jumping through this phone ready to slap you, dog. You lost your mind, man. You lost your damn mind on that one.
I don't care what you say, man. College basketball has never seen a player like this before.
You like that, but better? You tripping.
Whatever. You know what I'm saying. Trying to twist my words. I'm just
You said he was the best.
see what you're doing. You're trying to twist them. Yeah.
Clear that up.
Twist my ass,
man.
But it's all good, man. Like, I just want to make sure I highlight that, man. He's more than just a dunker. He can do more than just jump out. Zion is a truly, truly gifted basketball player that's only getting better, and his best attribute is his heart. But yeah, man, like, I still gotta say, like, we got the same top two. Ja Morant definitely got to be in there. Like, Ja Morant is a baller, straight up baller, and he's that guy that's willing to do anything necessary to get the win, whether it's go drive the lane, shoot the three. He gonna take the hard foul. He gonna get the rebound. He gonna make the pass. He does whatever it takes. I just wish he was on a better team, but it's all good because you about to go off to the NBA and make you some money. The problem is the team picking you is probably sorry. That's why they're picking you when they picking you. So you going from a bad situation to a bad situation, but at least you gonna get paid.
He got time to grow. He needs to
he definitely got time to grow though, man. But Ja Morant's my number two. And then number three, I got Brandon Clark from Gonzaga. Brandon Clark reminds me of another Brandon from a long time ago that was the man until injuries destroyed him. And I say all the time, I can only imagine what he would have been if not for them bad knees. And that's Brandon Roy, man. That's who Brandon Clark reminds me of. His game is just so complete to me. It's so good. He quietly and silently is going to get you 25 to 30 points just randomly out of nowhere. He just does it so smooth. He's not getting talked about. He's with Gonzaga. I'm not crazy about Gonzaga's overall team. I don't think that they're as good as people say they are, but I believe Brandon Clark is much better than what people think he is. If that makes sense to people. The overall team, not so much sold on him, but Brandon Clark himself, that's a bad boy right there. That's a bad boy that takes over games, man. So definitely had to shout out Brandon Clark to that. And also shout out to Sean's list, except for Taco. No matter where you're at, these boys, they play hard. All of them deserve some love and respect, except for Taco. I'm joking. Taco deserves some respect. I'm joking. Taco deserves respect. But, man, if we talk about respect and we talking about somebody that can take over a game, we got to show some respect and we got to show some love to the man, the motherfucking GOAT, Rob Gronkowski. Retired, man. I know you happy to see him go because you tired of the Patriots. You want to see them lose all their pieces.
Nah, as long as Brady is still there, it don't matter.
But, man, this is, to me, is the most dominant tight end I've ever seen. He's one of the most dominant players, regardless of position, I've ever seen. The man is just a freaky ass dude, and it's not so much of him being, some quick twitch athlete, because that ain't what he is. He's a guy who pre-injuries, straight line speed, he had it, but then he's 6'6", 6'7", 265, strong. As far as a receiver goes, the only person that I could think of immediately off the top of my head that compares to him, two of them that compares to him is Terrell Owens as far as the difficulty to bring him down is what I'm referring to right now. Terrell Owens and Sterling Sharp. Those are the only two guys. When you talk about somebody catch the ball and you just know that you about to go through hell to get them down.
I'm talking about Sterling or Shannon? Which one?
Sterling.
Okay.
Sterling Sharp.
You took it way back there.
Yeah. Sterling Sharp was one of the hardest post-catch tackles that you was. First off, he was rocked. He was DK Metcalf before DK Metcalf existed. The only difference is he ran a whole route tree. DK Metcalf don't. Like he was rocked. And he was a hard dude to tackle. And Gronk was just so physical, such a smart player, so clutch. You saw him make play after play for Brady. It's been many times. Brady, he is the GOAT. He's a legend. He's all of that. He's one of my favorite players all time. But at the end of the day, I have seen Gronk bail him out with some throws sometimes where you just like, how the hell did he catch? He did it in the Super Bowl against the Rams. Like when he caught that diving ball on the two, it's like not many guys make that catch. Like Gronk is a legend, man. My question to you, who's the GOAT? Who's the GOAT? Who's the greatest of all time at the tight end position?
It depends on how you take it. I'm gonna be honest, man. Depends on how you take it. If you want to factor in, if you want to say, okay, at their peak, who's the greatest tight end of all time? It's Gronk. I have to give him that. Now, if you want to go longevity, who had the greatest career? It's Tony Gonzalez. Because if you want to be, let's keep it real, dog. Gronk is greater than than Tony Gonzalez at his peak because you have to factor in how dominant of a blocker Gronk is. He's the best blocking tight end we've seen in our lifetime. That's easy. And receiving, you can compare the two. With Gonzalez and Gronk, the difference is Gronk is better run after catch. But for me, the greatest tight end is Tony Gonzalez because I like somebody that gives me longevity, bro. My man played 17 seasons. Gronk played 9. And half is wrong. Sorry. A lot of those games he missed. He only played 12 games a year for an average. And he only got 2 seasons where he played 16 games. And not to mention, if you want to compare the two, the Patriots won a Super Bowl without him playing. Like, this is what we talking about right now. And he had Tom Brady his entire career. Tony Gonzalez, come on, man. Best quarterbacks he ever played with was Trent Green and Matt Ryan. And you know what I'm saying? Like, those are 2 good quarterbacks. But, I mean, dog, let me give you a list of the quarterbacks Tony Gonzalez had to play with. Started out his career, Steve Bono, garbage, terrible, dog. Rich Gannon, he got a little good there. Elvis Gerback, garbage. Trent Green, good. Damon Hewitt, Brody fucking Croyle, man. Come on, man. Tyler Thigpen, Matt Castle, garbage. My man produced no matter what the situation is, man. And he did it for a long time. He only got 2 seasons where he didn't play 16 games. And then let me give you the coaches he had to play with. 9 offensive coaches. Marty Schottenheimer knows nothing about offense. Gunther Cunningham, same situation. Dick Vermeil. Okay, now we talking. That's an offensive mind. Open it up. Herm Edwards knows nothing about offense, man. Todd Haley. Okay, he was good offense, but we talking about a 3-13 season with Todd Haley. You know what I'm saying? So Tony Gonzalez did a whole lot more with a lot less and was way more consistent. So for me, he's the greatest, dog.
When you stay consistent now, I want you to make sure you clarify because people hear that and they run with it. Gronk was ridiculously consistent. He wasn't available.
That's my point.
I know what your point was. I just want you to clarify.
And that's my whole point, dog. If you told me right now, who would I draft? Tony Gonzalez or Rob Gronkowski? I would draft Gonzalez. Because I know he's going to be available, dog. I'm not going to have a team that can win a Super Bowl without him. The Patriots won a damn Super Bowl without him, and we talking about, is he the greatest? No, sir. Thought they was down 28-3 to the Falcons and came back without him. That's why I don't really care that he retired. What did I say? Tom Brady's still there. They can still win Super Bowl, dog. So we want to say he's the greatest, but your team is so goddamn good, they win it without you. How are you the GOAT? Name another team that the GOAT leaves and they still winning Super Bowls or NBA championships. Name a team. You can't. You're stumped, bro. There's nothing you can say. There's nothing.
That's because I wasn't ready.
Yeah, exactly. Because
I wasn't ready.
That should come off your head immediately, dog. You should know that. I mean, the only team.
I can do it. I can do it. Joe Montana left, and then they won again.
They put another GOAT in there, Steve Young.
Nobody knew he was going to be a GOAT.
What you talking about? No. The only team I would say is the damn Warriors. Once Kevin Durant leaves, I expect the Warriors to eventually win another championship.
You know what you just said, right? You know what you just said. You just said Kevin Durant is a GOAT.
No, best player on the team.
No, that's what you just said. You said name a team. GOAT.
No.
And you said
I'm thinking about when I say GOAT, I mean the best player on that team, dog.
You called him a GOAT.
No, I did not.
I'm gonna post this clip and y'all better light shine ass up.
Nah, they know he ain't no GOAT. He a Billy GOAT for me, dog.
Hey,
I stand
you just
by that.
No. Yeah, I know you talk too fast and they think about what you was gonna say.
What's your response to that, man? What's your response to that?
It's very simple, man. I look at this and I say, yeah, I can't argue with the fact that his longevity is impressive. 17 years, regardless of position, is a long time in football. To play 17 years, that's impressive, man. I ain't gonna knock that. I ain't gonna be the typical hater and all that stuff. Cool, 17 years. I will say this though. When you talk about the impact, like Gronk basically played 7 seasons. If you talk about the games that he played in, he played 115 games. If you play all 16 games for 7 seasons, that's 111 games, 112 games. So basically, he played 7 seasons plus 3 games into the 8th season. That's what he played essentially. That's how much time he missed. And in that time, with the stats that he was able to put up, his level of consistency in that time. This man, he had a better touchdown rate per catch than Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice averaged a touchdown almost every 8 catches. This man averaged a touchdown, Rob Gronkowski, every 6 catches. like it's insane, man, to really think about his.
Hold up, man. Jerry Rice had a whole lot more catches getting down the field than Gronk did. So clarify that. Because he wasn't in all these slot catches to Wes Welker, Amendola were the ones that were getting them down the field. Big difference.
Gronk, well, not really, because Gronk had 79 touchdowns in his career. Okay. You talk about Gonzalez, who had 111, I think, off the top of my head. I got to double check my stat check.
115.
115. He had 115 to Gronk's
111.
Yeah, I knew I was right, bro. Don't mess with the stats, man. Look, so he had 79 in basically 7 seasons of playing. I don't think people really understand, how crazy that is. You basically are averaging 10 touchdowns a year. That's insane, man. And then if you go by a stat basis of truly breaking it down for his entire career, going over the course of 9 years compared to 17 years, yards per game, he beats Gonzalez. 68 yards per game to 56. That's a 12-yard difference. Basically, that's the difference between averaging 1,000 yards a season compared to not, because it takes 63.2 yards a season to get to 1,000. So he basically is averaging 1,000 yards to a season. Then you get touchdowns. 8.7 over the course is the average when you bring it over 9 seasons as opposed to 7. But 8.7 compared to 6.5 in touchdowns. Receptions, 58 receptions a season to 78 in favor of Gonzalez. Now, again, we know he missed a lot of time, but that, again, plays in the favor of Gonzalez availability. And I don't want to sound like a hypocrite either before I continue, because one of my favorite quotes I ever heard growing up, my grandfather, he stole it from every other coach. He was my coach when I was a kid. He stole it from every other coach. Every coach has said it at least once. You can't make the club in the tub. If you constantly hurt, you're in the training room and all this other stuff, you can't play. It's that simple. So your best ability is availability. And if you can't be on the field, then that's a problem. So I do believe in those quotes. So I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, but I can't ignore what he did when he was available. Like, that's the thing that I think people are overlooking here when you talk about being the GOAT and who he was. When he was available, his impact was different. So then you look at yards per catch. 15.1 yards per catch for Gronk compared to 11.4 for Tony Gonzalez.
15 for a tight end. 15 for a tight end. That's nasty.
That's just crazy. That's the same for any position. That's a deep threat for anybody. 15? Yeah. Like, that's crazy, man. Like, the best deep threats average 15 to 16 yards a catch. The best. Deshaun Jackson he's around the 15.5, I believe. Like, you telling me this man averaged 15.1? Like, come on, man. But then you look at catch percentage. He caught 65% of his balls compared to 64. Close one there. But this is the stat that gets me. PFF, when they do their rankings and they do their overall performance grades, they take in everything from a play-by-play basis. Did you win this snap? Did you win this snap? Did you win this snap? Every single snap is calculated in, and then it's added in what you did. Blocking, running, catching, tackling, all that stuff. Gronkowski for tight ends since 2010. Check these stats out. The number one performance since 2010 for a tight end was 2011's performance by Gronk. Number 2, 2014 by Gronk. Number 3, 15 for Gronk. 4, 13 for Gronk. So 5, 12 from Gronk. 6, 2017 from Gronk. The number 7th best season from the past 10 years came from Gronk with a tie, but with some other guys. But it was his 2016 season, and then 2018 actually was his worst season where he finished 9th ranked, even with all that RoboCop armor on that he had, barely walking. He still was the 9th ranked tight end in the league, man. Like, that's never been done over the course of a 10-year stretch from any position. No one's ever done that. Now, right now, I would say the only person that looks like they're on any sort of trajectory to do that is Aaron Donald, but you never know what happens. It's still he only halfway through that decade mark. The next 5 years, he may not be as good. This man has done it. Like, to me, that puts you in. That not only puts you in the conversation as the GOAT. To me, you are the GOAT, but your availability is a problem. That's simple.
Yeah, before I say this, man, I want to be clear when I say that Gronk would have been great wherever he played. Yep. Any era, any quarterback, any coach, he would have been great. My argument for Gonzalez is switch him out. Take Gronk, bring him in the league in 1997 with the Chiefs team. Give him all of these different coaches, all of these different quarterbacks, these sorry teams that he played on, and not to mention the spread offense really wasn't in yet. It was just getting started. And one of the reasons it started becoming bigger is because of Tony Gonzalez. They split him out. He was one of the first tight ends after Shannon Sharp to really be used more as a receiver than a blocker.
Thank you. And, you know people don't give Shannon Sharp credit for that.
Right. They took what Shannon Sharp was doing and just expanded it more with Tony Gonzalez. And my thing is, switch him. Take Tony Gonzalez and bring him in the league in 2010 when Gronk came in, I believe, 2010. Yeah. Give him Tom Brady. Give him Bill Belichick. Give him O-line, defense, and a spread offense with another receiver on the other side, slot, that's always open. And now let's talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I don't want to disrespect Gronk in any way. My argument for Gonzalez is you have to bring that longevity. My man played 17 seasons at a high level with disadvantages all the time. Part of the reason why Gronk is so great is his playoff success, too. Tony Gonzalez only played, I believe, 4 games in the playoffs. He won one, and that's not his fault. You know what I'm saying? And Gronk got a team that literally won a Super Bowl without him touching the field the entire playoffs. This is what I'm saying, man. You got to factor that in. And for Tony Gonzalez to do what he did over his career with those disadvantages compared to Gronk, man, give me Gonzalez because I know he's going to be available, number one. He's consistent. He did all the things Gronk did except for blocking. Let me be clear. Tony Gonzalez was not a good blocker probably the first 10 years of his career.
And post-catch.
And after the catch, wasn't as good as Gronk, but he was good too. And he was a great red zone threat. He was one of the first tight ends. He was great.
He was the first jump ball specialist. He was the first. I give him that. I give him that. He was the first jump ball specialist.
And my question to you, what would Tony Gonzalez's stats look like if he came in 2010 with Brady, with Belichick, with this open offense that we're running now? Because their stats they're very similar, even though we were still running fucking I for him back then. Strong eye, fullbacks in the game. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying. He's a GOAT to me.
I mean, I answer that question, man, because I think a huge part of that, you know, if we're being honest and real, Tony Gonzalez was their number one receiver. You know, like you said, Gronk had other guys and stuff on the field with him. It was Tony Gonzalez. It was the Gonzalez show, you know. So he got all the targets, you know, for at least, and I'm not saying that was his whole career, for at least 10 or 11 of those 17 years, he was the only guy. It was him, you know. So yeah, I mean, that don't mean that he has to produce those. So I don't want it to sound like I'm hating, like, oh, well, he got a bunch of targets. What you expect? Yeah, he got targets, but he produced with the targets. So yeah, I give him that. But at the same time, if you go use the hypothetical of what happens if he's with him, what happens is Gronk is healthy. You see?
But see, you can't. I don't agree that you can do that because that's a personal
It's
problem.
a hypothetical.
No, it's a personal problem. You know why Gronk couldn't? Let me tell you. You know why Gronk couldn't stay healthy?
Because he was too physical.
No, his nightlife is why he couldn't stay healthy. Gonzalez took care of his body, man. I'm telling you, he took
Gronk is
care
one
of his body.
working on the Patriots team, man.
That don't mean that you ain't out all night partying and drinking, dog. Gonzalez took care of his body. The man is a damn vegan now. The last 5 years of his career, he went vegan. He took care of his body. That's a personal problem if you can't stay healthy. Oh, you can't do that. All the hypotheticals I brought out is shit that he could not control. That's what I'm saying. You can't control when Marty Schottenheimer is your coach. Gunther Cunningham, Brody fucking Coyle is throwing you the ball. You can't control that. He still produced, dog. He produced no matter the situation.
That Brody Coyle get me every time.
Brody fucking
his
Coyle,
name was
dog.
was
garbage. Terrible quarterback.
Oh man. Look, I'm not taking none of that away, man. But like I said, it's a hypothetical. If you can use that hypothetical, I can say hypothetically, what if he took a better care of his body? I don't care however you want to phrase it. If Gronk personal. It don't matter.
It does matter. It's personal, dog. That's on him.
It don't matter. If Gronk is healthy, for him to do what he did, barely healthy. And let's be clear, even in the 115 games that he played, I would say probably 90 of them, he wasn't even close to 70%.
Personal problem.
Listen to what I'm saying, man. For him to do it, not even at 70% is crazy, man. It shows how dominant he was, man. Like, we can do this all day, truth be told, because Gronk and Gonzalez, the conversation is worth it. We'd have to dedicate a whole segment to GOATs. Idea. We're gonna have to do a segment on GOATs, man. That might be a 2 or 3 day project because we got so many positions and so many sports, but that's coming, But man, truth be told, Gronk, he's a GOAT. Whether he's the GOAT or not is going to always be debatable, and it's going to always be that question of what if he stayed healthy or what if he played longer because of what people saw him do in the time that he played. And whenever you have a what if, that makes you a GOAT. Just like with Gale Sayers only playing 6 seasons and being a first ballot Hall of Famer, that speaks volumes to what he was able to do when he played. And Gronk right now is in position to be one of 3 players in the history of NFL to be a first ballot Hall of Famer before ever hitting 30, meaning that he didn't even play 10 seasons. The only 2 players to do it, Gale Sayers and Jim Brown. Salute to you, Gronk. That's a hell of a career that you had. And you get to go out at 29 on your terms. You got $50 million in the bank that rumor has it he didn't even touch. He ain't a big spender. He ain't a lavish lifestyle. He drive a Ford pickup truck, living with his parents with a model girlfriend. Gronk, go be a whore for the next 10, 20 years. Blow through 20 of your 50 million and just live life, man. I love to see players go out on their own terms. For sure. I got salute to you, my brother.
Oh, yeah. I'll say this real quick so I can be clear. At their peak, healthy, Gronk is the greatest tight end because of his blocking, receiving, after catch. He's the greatest.
Yeah.
I prefer longevity. It's just like this.
I understand.
If we play Madden, Gronk is a 99 overall for 7 seasons. Tony Gonzalez is a 97 overall for 17 seasons. Give me that 97 for 17 seasons is what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. No disrespect to Gronk, man.
Okay. I understand that. That's everybody's personal preference. Longevity over that impact, right? That short-term impact. I get that 100%. I'm not going to disagree with that. But, man, that's all we got for this show, man. Definitely interesting discussion that, like I said, a GOAT segment coming. GOAT segment going to be good because it's gonna get the GOATs are always debatable. You gonna always have somebody that disagree. We're gonna have to get a LeBron supporter on here for that segment because that's gonna be good. But that's all we got.
He's no GOAT. No way.
That's all we got, man. We're gonna definitely come back with more. We got the rest of the tournament to play out for March Madness. Definitely gonna enjoy the rest of these next 2 weeks with those games. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that. And that's all we got. Peace.
Man, John Stockton, the GOAT. Man, I can't fucking end it. There you go.